Shalom, it's me, Sudden Skye, and we are playing Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Sonic the Hedgehog, my favorite video game franchise ever. Oh, I love it so much, and finally, we are getting to a Sonic game. Now, something new to the third entry of the Sonic series, or rather fourth, but I'll explain more about that later. Save files! We can actually save a game. I forgot how many you can save on a single game. But you can start off the game as Sonic, Tails, or good old Knucklehead Knuckles. Or you can do both Sonic and Tails. Now, this whole beginning part might be going a little fast for you, but don't worry, I'll take the time to explain. We are Sonic the Hedgehog. This once yellow, now blue guy over here. And we are taking the story off from the ending of the last game, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where we just obtained 7 Chaos Emeralds. I'll explain what Chaos Emeralds do later, but firstly, we are Sonic the Hedgehog, and Sonic the Hedgehog is a speed-oriented type game where the main objective is to go fast and complete this stage in a platformer-esque fashion. And we just entered into a special stage, yes. Told you this whole thing was going fast. Don't worry, there's a lot of time to explain. This is a special stage. You enter into special stages by jumping into the giant rings that are hidden across the stage in hidden areas where you have to blast or super spin dash through walls. And the main objective when you enter a special stage is to basically walk into these blue orbs and just collect every blue orb in the stage. And if you touch a blue orb, they turn into a red orb, and you don't want to touch the red orbs. Bad old red spheres. And if you do a big loop around a group of blue orbs, like I just did there, they turn into rings. And if they turn into rings, they also count as you collecting the blue orbs. So don't worry if you think you should avoid looping around the blue orbs just to collect them. And if you collect all the rings in the special stage, you get a perfect, which I believe gets you a continue. And the longer that you're in the special stage, the faster you get. So you might want to complete the special stage really fast. And after all that, we get a Chaos Emerald. Looks quite like, I don't know, some sort of hard candy. What's a good example? A Jolly Rancher. There we go. A Lifesaver. No, the Lifesaver has a hole in it. And, yeah, we gotta continue after all that. I don't know if, you'll see the actual sprites on the screen with, the whole YouTube compression thing running at 30 frames per second. But yes, we are back to our platformer-esque gameplay that we started off in the beginning of the game. And what I just hit there was a computer TV thing. Basically, you get like a power-up, which is basically just invincibility for like, I don't know, 15 seconds. And I hit another computer, which got me a life. Yes, lives are hidden in these computers that we must jump on. Jumping is basically Sonic's main way of attacking. Like I shall show here. This is a mini-boss over here, but we can't defeat him quite yet. He just rains fire all over this zone here, and now the whole stage has changed into a flamey esque design. Anywho, this is a bonus stage, a slot machine, based bonus stage. Basically, what you want to do is, well, I can't really explain now, but you might see it later. Things are going really fast. Okay, we are Sonic the Hedgehog right here, and this game starts off by taking place at the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where we have obtained all 7 Chaos Emeralds. And at the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, basically, Sonic beat this bad man named Dr. Eggman. And, as Super Sonic, assuming you completely, beat the game at its fullest. And, after you beat Dr. Eggman, Sonic basically flew down from the Death Egg, later to be meted by Tails in his aeroplane. So that's basically, what happened in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is why I feel like I should start with the third entry in the series. Because, personally, I think not a lot really happens that is worth seeing in the first two games, even though people just gush all over the first two Sonic games. I mean, the whole reason why the Genesis sold so well was because of, you know, the speed-oriented gameplay of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. And a lot of people just... Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is basically like the system seller of the game. Anywho, we got the second Chaos Emerald. And, the reason... Also, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 just so happens to be my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog game in the entire series, actually. Well, not the entire series, the side-scrolling series, which is not many. And it's also not saying a lot because, well, the only good ones are the first three. But yes, we are playing this on the quote-unquote Genesis. And if you don't remember what the Genesis was, which I'm surprised if nobody actually did. But the Genesis was basically the competition, like Nintendo's only competition that Nintendo had to work for, fighting against with the original NES. Oh yes, and that was a mini-boss that we just fought. But yes, first the NES came out, which was like that really old 8-bit console. Then Genesis came out with the genius of... excuse me, Sega came out with the genius of the Genesis. Which is basically, like, the whole deal with the Genesis was that it was a 16-bit console. And I'm just getting these special stage rings like it's nothing. But I think the game does that on purpose. It's designed that way for you to find them really easily. But 16-bit, oh yeah, 16-bit is, if you don't know what that is, it's basically just what makes a game look really good. Like it just better graphics is like what I think the proper definition of it is, question mark? I don't know. But then Nintendo came out with the Super Nintendo, which was also 16-bit, but it also had a bunch of other features like FX or GX or C4 chip, a bunch of other stuff. So basically, the Super Nintendo would easily cream the Genesis with all its new and enhanced features that the Genesis does not have. But Genesis had one thing going for it. A thing called blast processing, which is fancy talk for something... It just means, like, the Genesis could, like, produce really fast moving sprites. And it is also what Sonic is famous for, being really fast. An impatient hedgehog who has no time for games. Well, he has time for games. I mean, that's what Sonic is known for, playing around while fighting bad guys. A happy-go-lucky blue guy who sometimes you can't take seriously, but you know, he's just that type of guy who you both can and can't take seriously. Anywho, I know a lot of people might be like, I sort of explained this earlier, but I'm starting off with the third entry in the series rather than the first or the second. But not a lot happens in those games. But the only reason that I could think of to actually LP those games is the music. I mean, who could not right now hum the classic Emerald Hill Zone theme, rather? Dun it, dun 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 it. You know that one. And yes, I died from faulty hit detection, even though nothing crushed me. But anywho, another thing that the Sonic series is really famous for, its alternate pathways. If you can notice now, where I died, I'm not going towards that location. I've taken a completely different alternate route, which will also take me to the next special stage. Yes, I play this game a lot. Well, not recently. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is one of those games where... Okay, you know how, like, you played a game a lot in the past before, and then you feel like if you ever go back to the game, you'll be like a boss at it? I felt that way with Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and when I first practiced this game to LP it, I did not feel very boss-like. No, I actually had to practice this game quite a few times before actually recording. Like, usually when I LP games, I just like pop the game in and then record it right off the bat. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is not one of those games. Excuse me, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles is not one of those games. And right now might be a good time to explain who the heck Knuckles is. Well, Knuckles is that guy that you saw in the beginning cutscene, the red guy who knocked Super Sonic the Hedgehog's emeralds out of him. Super Sonic. Okay, if you don't know the power of Super Sonic, it's basically unlimited power. Chaos Emeralds give Sonic unlimited power. Okay, or not unlimited, unmeasurable is the more appropriate way to describe it. Anywho, Knuckles knocked the emeralds out of Sonic. Why? Well, it's not really explained in the game, but in the manual of the Sonic Mega Collection, it says, original release of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, January 24th, 1994. Dr. Robotnik's, Dr. Eggman is also known as Dr. Robotnik, but I'll explain more about that later. Dr. Robotnik's Death Egg has lost its ability to fly after crash landing on the floating island, which we are on right now. And only the power of the Chaos Emeralds can repair his ship. To obtain these, he tricks their guardian Knuckles the Echidna, convincing him that Sonic and Tails are really his enemies. So basically, Dr. Robotnik tricked Knuckles into thinking that Sonic and Tails are the bad guys, which is why he just knocked them out of us. And apparently he's the Chaos Emerald's guardian. Oh, and this section here, just keep holding right and you won't be attacked by those missiles. I got hit by the missile because I thought I'd be invincible from the missile's blast. Why I thought I was invincible? Well, I'll explain that later. Here's a boss fight I should actually explain. This is Dr. Robotnik / Eggman. And basically, that's how every single boss fight with him goes. You just jump right into him, and he is down for the count. And at the end of the stage, you hit a capsule, releasing all the animals that Dr. Robotnik has trapped. Oh, and another thing that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is famous for. Stage transitions! See you guys in the next part for more Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.